All right, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for coming, and welcome to people who might watch this virtually later. I'm Corrie Grosse. I'm a professor in environmental studies. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm really excited to be leading this Argentina program next fall. And I'm joined here by Tracy from CGE, and she will take us through some slides.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to talk about this program. This is a fall semester program in Argentina, and Argentina is a country where I have lived for several years. It's a place that I know and love, and so I'm very excited to be sharing these program details with you today. So let's get right in. Oh, I didn't mention I work in the Center for Global Education, so this is one of the programs that I manage. Our semester programs. So this program is a fall semester program. It's located in Buenos Aires, Argentina. That's the capital city of the country. So it is a big and bustling metropolis. It has 15 million people that live there, and it is full of lots of excitement and lots of opportunity for you. So when we're in Buenos Aires, we partner with IES Abroad. They're our partner for study abroad. They have a study center where you would take most of your classes with other study abroad students from the United States. And then you would also take one class at UCA. UCA is our partner university. That's the Catholic University of Argentina. So you take one class there with other international students or local Argentine students as well. So it's a fall semester program, but the dates are a bit different than they are for campus semesters. It would begin in late July, and then the semester ends in late November. And there is something for everyone in Buenos Aires. So these are just some of the things to get excited about. It's the city in the world that has the most professional soccer teams and stadiums. So there's lots of opportunity to get out and watch some soccer. Argentina's national men's team won the previous World Cup in 2022. They also won the Copa America this year. So they're big into soccer. They're really good at it and very passionate about it. In addition to that, there's a thriving art scene in Buenos Aires. And so there's lots of museums to check out. You can see people dancing tango on the streets or in different shows and performances around the city. It also has a lot of green space, and so there's lots of parks to check out too. One of my favorite pastimes in the city is just to sit in the parks and watch these dog walkers. So there's people who are paid to walk other people's dogs, and they're divided by size. So you can sit and watch big doggy class and small doggy class. It's fantastic. There's a lot of Spanish and Italian influence in the city and the country itself. So Pope Francis is seen there. His parents were Italian immigrants to Argentina, which is pretty similar to a lot of the people in Argentina whose families and they have ancestry from Europe. A lot of immigration happened like around the time of World War II. And so you'll see a lot of that come to play in the cuisine in Argentina. So there's lots of good pizza. There's empanadas of every different flavor to try. Argentina is known for its asado, the barbecue, really good meats. But if you are a vegetarian, it's very possible to live as a vegetarian. That asado is a very common thing to do with family and friends on the weekends. And I can say from experience as a vegetarian, it's not a problem if you don't eat meat. Vegetables grill just as well. Another thing you can try is mate. So yerba mate is like a tea drink that you can share with your friends. It's very common to drink at any time of the day, also with a little snack like an alfajor, that is that little sandwich cookie with dulce de leche in the middle, like a caramel. So something for everyone, lots to see and explore in Buenos Aires. And to get excited about the greater country of Argentina, there is so much to explore. These are just 6 different places that I'll highlight here, and there's much more to see, but a lot of, so the lower third of Argentina is Patagonia, and there are mountains and glaciers and glacial lakes to explore there. So the first picture up on the left, upper left, is Fitzroy. That is the mountain that inspired the Patagonia logo, but it's also the trekking capital of the country. So lots of good hiking to be done in El Chaltén. And close by is El Calafate, which is another city that has this glacier part of a national park, Perito Moreno Glacier, which is also part of the Southern Patagonian ice field. It's very beautiful. You can go and visit and get very close to the front of this glacier. Ushuaia is in the third picture on the top. That is the southernmost city in the world. That's where a lot of ships will depart from to go to Antarctica. You can also do different excursions from there, like go visiting penguins. There's other ski places and national parks too to explore in Ushuaia. In the northern part of the country, on the border of Brazil and Paraguay, there's Iguazu Falls. That's a waterfall. That's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. It's amazing. There's lots of boardwalks that you can walk on the upper falls, the lower falls. It's unlike any other place I've seen in the world. And then Jujuy is also in the north, but it's on the other side of where Iguazu Falls is. So Iguazu Falls is on the east, Jujuy is in the west. And it is a place that is it has all these mountains of beautiful red and yellow colors, and it's home to salt flats. And it's part of, you'll get to visit Jujuy on this trip. On this program, you'll take a 4-day trip up to Jujuy. One other place, and this is back down in Patagonia, but it's Peninsula Valdez. It has lots of wildlife that you can see. So there's things like penguins and whales. Good whale watching happens in October. There's sea lions and lots to explore there. So with that, I will turn it over to Corrie for more of her introductions.
Yeah, so study abroad is such a fantastic thing to do. It is truly life-changing. I studied abroad in Ecuador when I was a junior in college. I was a sociology and Spanish double major because it just made so much sense to major in Spanish for me because I was taking all Spanish classes while I was abroad. And it was, a major experience in self-growth. I think that anyone gets that from study abroad, like navigating a new city, a new country, a host family, meeting new friends, getting to travel. It's so many skills that employers are looking for and that are just really valuable in your life beyond college. You can really grow those skills in study abroad programs. So thinking about flexibility and adaptability, independence, right? All of these things. For me, it was life-changing because I witnessed for the first time real poverty. I also, for the first time, was connected with indigenous cultures and environmental solutions around climate change that a lot of folks were talking about when I studied abroad, which was not so common here in the States. And so it really informed the trajectory of my graduate degree and then now what I teach here at St. Ben's and St. John's. I went back to do my master's research. On the upper right picture is me with some women who are, they work in floriculture. So they harvest roses because Ecuador is one of the largest exporters of roses in the world. And so I spent about a month talking to people working in greenhouses about their working conditions. I studied abroad with my partner, who's still my partner, so he'll be joining us on the study abroad trip. His name is Hunter. He'll be the co-director, and we were able to travel to Machu Picchu, which is one of these pictures on the left, and then to Lake Titicaca, which is between Peru and Bolivia, and that's a picture there. And the natural places are just fantastic in South America, and I think it's also a real it's different than going to Europe, right? So we have just 2 Global South programs here at St. Ben's and St. John's, South Africa and Buenos Aires. And I would really encourage folks to consider these programs because it is, this is a program that is designed to help you on this experience, to facilitate the experience. You can go to Europe kind of anytime. It's not that difficult. It's not that different in some ways than some of the cities here in the United States. And so it might be a good opportunity to do something different, to have an adventure by going to the Global South. It's so awesome for your language skills as well. Speaking another language is fabulous. Like, we're one of the few countries where most people don't speak multiple languages. So it gives you a leg up. I think Spanish in particular is so valuable, right, for the demographics of this country and our continent. And there's no better way to improve your language skills than studying abroad and being with a host family, because then you get to really speak Spanish all the time. So that is awesome. You experience a new culture, right? Building cross-cultural competence, like understanding how to relate to folks who have different experiences than you. I think also being in the Global South, you get, anywhere, but probably in a special way in the global South, it kind of decenters US perspectives on global politics and economics and all of these big issues, right? Kind of remembering there are a lot of other places in the world where people are engaging with these issues, which we don't always, we're not exposed to those narratives here in the US. Friendships are another huge reason, I think, to study abroad and an awesome outcome of it. So you will get to interact with local Argentine students. There will be other students from the US, from all over the US. There'll be other students from all over the world that are there, taking these classes that you're taking. You'll also, I think, probably become really tight with the other folks from St. Ben's and St. John's. I had people I studied abroad with who I'd never met at my university before, and we studied abroad and we just built this great relationship, and we're really close senior year, and then we're still friends to this day. It's just a really special thing to share this experience with people. Even if you speak Spanish, this is maybe a good opportunity to connect with your heritage. It's also a really great way to develop expertise in professional and academic settings and help you understand how to bridge the gap between those and the more informal sector of Spanish that folks might be familiar with. My partner Hunter too, I asked him what to share with all of you, and he said study abroad is just so fun. It's just awesome. And it's a really nice time in your life to do it, because when you finish school and maybe have a job and other responsibilities, it gets much harder to go spend 4 months living somewhere. So those are all some reasons to study abroad in general, and for this program in particular. I'm a sociologist, so I say environmental studies, and sometimes people think I studied plants and things like that, and I don't really know anything about that. I study social movements and politics and how those things are related to environmental issues. So I'm really excited to teach a class. It'll count for your cultural and social difference systems requirement here in our integrations curriculum. And it is focused on Latin American social movements, so movements for social justice and for environmental environmental preservation and environmental justice. And it's all kind of centering around this concept that comes out of the Andean region of South America called buen vivir. This means living well. And it's kind of opposed to the sense, the capitalist sense of living better, where it's more, 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 more. Do we measure our well-being in terms of more houses and cars and these sorts of things? The indigenous Andean cultures would say, no, it's about living in the right relationship in reciprocity with the natural world and with our own communities. And so I want us to engage with this concept and look at it through the lens of social movements and see how we can apply it locally in Buenos Aires and maybe make connections back home here as well. There's a lot of powerful social movements in Argentina and Buenos Aires. One you may have heard of is Las Madres de la Plaza de Mayo. So these were mothers who were protesting for years and years about their children who were disappeared or killed during the dictatorship. And so bringing attention to human rights abuses of that era, which affected a lot of Latin America. And then now we have a lot of environmental movements, often led by indigenous folks and often led by women. So there is resistance to dams. There's resistance to kind of an extreme form of natural gas extraction called hydraulic fracturing. There's resistance to lithium mining. So our electric cars, they use lithium for their batteries. A lot of that is mined in the Atacama Desert, which is actually right by Jujuy. So we might be able to make some connections with our class there. So in the class, we'll be often reflecting too on what is it like to study abroad, based on who we are. How are we experiencing this place? How do our identities come into play? And how does this relate to our social movements? So we'll be going on excursions into the city, probably have some of you leading these excursions, and hopefully getting some connections with local guest speakers and local places. Another cool movement in Buenos Aires was factory takeovers by workers' cooperatives. So maybe we can visit some of those factories. So I'm super excited to facilitate this experience with all of you. I will be bringing my whole family. I've got a 4-year-old and a just 1-year-old. I'm putting them in Spanish immersion school, so this will be an awesome head start for them. Hunter, my partner, also speaks Spanish, and we just really want to build a learning community to facilitate a really life-changing experience like we had, and to have a lot of fun with all of you. So because this is kind of the first year of this program where we're hoping to have a large group of students and send a faculty director, it's also a nice opportunity to really shape what this program is going to look for St. Ben's and St. John's students.
Okay, so this is a map of where we are located in Buenos Aires. The body of water that you see is the Rio de la Plata, which has served an important role in the development of Buenos Aires throughout time and in the present day. And so the study center is located pretty close. It's the one circled on the top. That is where you'll have most of your classes. And then the UCA, the partner university, is down in Puerto Madero. So that is an old port. The university itself used to be a wharf, and they've converted it into a university. And so to go between the two campuses, it looks deceivingly close on this map, but it's about a 20 to 30-minute ride on a public bus. And you'll have a transportation pass to use throughout the semester. So you can use that to hop on a bus and go between campuses when you need to. That gray line that goes by the study center, that is Avenida 9 de Julio. That is an avenue that is 15 lanes wide. It's the widest avenue in the world, or so it claims. And the study center is located right next to that. And so it's right in the heart of the city where all of the things are happening. Puerto Madero is a trendy neighborhood too. And so there's lots of good restaurants and cafes and places to explore in that part of the neighborhood of the city. These people pictured here are the staff that work at the IES Study Abroad Center. And so there are faces that you will see throughout the semester. They each serve a different role. So they might be more faculty supporting, they might be scheduling classes, working with Spanish instructors, or they might be the ones who are organizing your activities and making sure you have guest lectures lined up for your classes and going out. There's different volunteer opportunities that they will organize for you, and always making sure that all the students are informed of everything that's happening. And so here they are pictured in the photos. You'll meet them in person once you're on site. And then this would be the entrance to the study center. So it occupies an entire floor of a building right along that avenue in the Retiro neighborhood. So once you go up the elevator to the 12th floor, this is what you'll see on either side of the elevator. There are these glass doors, which then lead you into student spaces, some classrooms, and staff offices. So behind these doors, you'll find these classrooms. They're of differing sizes. Some classrooms are smaller. You might have a class that's as small as 8 students. And then the largest classrooms can accommodate up to 25, 30 students. The upper right photo shows a classroom that has some big windows that then lead to some green space, and that is a terrace that overlooks this avenue. And so you can go from the classroom out to the outdoor space that they have there, and I'll show you that in a second. But this is what you can expect your classrooms to look like at the study center, where you'll have the majority of your classes. And then this is what some of the student spaces look like. So there's tables, there's chairs, there's places to hang out in between your classes, after classes. You can bring your lunch and store it in a refrigerator. They have a fridge there for you to use, a little kitchenette with a microwave if you need to use that as well. And so some really great places for you to hang out outside of your homestay. Here are some more pictures of those shared student spaces. And so like a little mini fridge if you need to keep a sandwich cool while you're in class. There's a place to fill up water. You'll notice there is cold water and hot water. So in the middle picture, that water dispenser has the hot water. And then in the picture on the right, you'll see there's a bunch of thermoses there with little mates. So if you pick up the Argentine tradition of drinking mate, it would not be uncommon for you to have that in between your classes or even in class. You can fill up your thermos with hot water and then have your mate and fill that and sip your mate as you're learning. Up on the wall in the middle picture, there's a big calendar. So like I said, the IES staff will organize a bunch of activities and things all the time. They'll inform you of that through that calendar. They'll also let you know in person and in other ways of communication. But this is what you can expect to see. So here are some more of those student spaces. The round table on the left has a bunch of different colored books. Those are books that have published student work in each semester. And so each semester they have this symposium, which is kind of like our scholarship and creativity day here on campus, just on a smaller scale. But you have the opportunity to present something that you've written, something that you've composed throughout the semester. You would present it in front of your peers and guests that come to this. And then the cool part of this is that you'd be published in a book just like that by an actual publishing company, which would be a fantastic thing to put on your resume and say, I did this while I studied abroad. So that is an opportunity for all the students on this program. So here are some photos of the terrace that I was mentioning that is right connected to that larger classroom. On one side, you'll see the grill. That's a traditional Argentine grill that they'll use sometimes for different activities. There's a large table. Sometimes instructors will take their classes outside. And then here is a video of what the view looks like from that terrace. It's a really nice place to hang out in between classes after class, do some homework up there. All right.
So in terms of the academic side of things, you'll be taking, you need to have Hispanic Studies 112 to go on this trip. And then I will be teaching the Study Abroad seminar, the CSDS course at the IES Study Abroad Center. Then you'll also take one Spanish class at the appropriate level. You'll take one class at UCA, and there are a whole bunch, we'll show you some slides of those potential classes. And then you'll take one or two electives at the IES Study Abroad Center. And all of those classes have excursions, like field studies, and then multiple guest speakers. So that is, they're very, very engaged in the community. If you're taking, there's a lot of electives you can take in Spanish. And so for those, you need to have 4 or more semesters of college level Spanish. So equivalent of Hispanic Studies 230. So these are the Spanish classes that are offered at IES. So, you know, every level you can take class there. They have electives in other disciplines in English. So here are some of the examples here. You know, there's history, psychology, GBUS, political science. All of that. So there are classes potentially that count for electives and a variety of majors here on campus. So we can talk more specifically about those if you have questions, and you can also ask your faculty in those departments if we don't have a system set up yet. I'll talk a little bit about the internship and community-based learning too in a moment, but those are great, great things to participate in. There are also electives in Spanish. And some of these I just think look so cool. The Making of Patagonia, an interdisciplinary approach. There's a few environmental studies electives that count for our major here. Those are the ones I know a lot about. The internship is a fabulous opportunity. So this is 3 credits. It counts for the Hispanic Studies major and minor if you take it in Spanish. And this is 8 to 10 hours per week for a total of 112 hours over the course of your semester. And the IES staff work with you to place you in an internship that you want to do, right? So maybe something that is related to your area of study. And they also have an accompanying seminar that you take that has 7 2-hour meetings where you're reflecting on this process. And so this is really, really nice, right? Like a way to actually reflect and get the most out of your internship, to maybe have some learning goals associated with it, to understand like, what am I learning about what I might want to do with myself, right? Like, what am I learning that I really love? Are there things that I don't love so much? Internships are so valuable that way. And so, you know, you might be doing office work, working with colleagues, lots of different activities that you could be involved in, and really valuable for your resume. There's also a community-based learning option. So I think our students who are there are doing this now. So maybe Tracy will talk a little bit about that. But again, this counts for the Hispanic Studies major and minor if you take it in Spanish. And this is the similar 8 to 10 hours a week, 7 meetings to help you process this experience. And there's a variety of non-governmental organizations and nonprofits that partner with IES to facilitate these community-based learning projects. So a really great way to get into the local community and meet people. And I think these experiences are, valuable always, but particularly in a new city, in a new country, to really get out and learn.
Yeah, so the main difference between the internship and the community-based learning would be an internship you could expect to go to like an office setting and have coworkers and do computer work, that sort of thing. This community-based learning would be more of interacting with people, doing different projects, such as working with small school-age children in a poor neighborhood of Buenos Aires, or tutoring students who are hoping to become first-generation college students in English to help them with their English. There's also a project where our students currently are going to this urban garden and they're learning about all sorts of plants and vegetables that they had no idea about before, but they're earning credit for it, right? So they're going to do this urban gardening and have this accompanying seminar, which has been really great for them to meet different demographics of people in the city and just engage with others. So highly encourage this as an option for classes. Here's a little bit about our partner university, UCA. Again, you'd be taking one class at UCA. And this is a university that was founded in 1958. It has approximately 22,000 students, so it's pretty large. And it has about 800 international students each year from all over the place. So you'd have classes certainly with other international students. Your class would be with other international students for sure, and possibly some Argentine students local as well. So it's located right along the river. It used to be a wharf, and this neighborhood is up and coming. So lots of cool things to do and see in this neighborhood. Here are some more photos of what the university itself looks like. So they're buildings that were a wharf that have been repurposed, and the inside you would never be able to tell that it used to be a wharf. So great libraries, great classroom spaces, lots of resources to use, such as this gym, which is right on campus. So if you're interested in getting a gym membership, it'd be a monthly fee that you would pay, and you have access to lots of weights and cardio equipment. It's all right there for you. Then this picture is what the waterfront looks like with that little ship there, and across the way, some more modern skyscrapers. So every neighborhood that you enter in the city has its own sort of flair. And so this Puerto Madero, where UCA is, I would say is trendy, is how I would describe it. So as you are looking at class options at UCA, these would be some of the potential offerings that you have. Some are in English, some are in Spanish. If you're hoping to take an elective in Spanish, you have to have taken Hispanic Studies 230 prior. That would be the prerequisite. Otherwise, there are options for you in English as well. Some of these also could count back and transfer to count for major or minor credit. The intercultural communication class, for example, it already transfers back to count for a communication major or minor. So that would be a good option if you are a communication student. UCA also has some possibilities to join extracurricular activities, such as the one listed here. So we have a student there currently who's on the volleyball team, which has been a fantastic way to make local friends. So I think they're one of the only international students on this team. It's with Argentine students besides the student who is there. So it's been really great for making friends and having that as an activity to do besides classes and activities that are offered at IES. Okay, so if I were to advise students on which classes to take, this would be a potential scenario if you are at a 211 Hispanic Studies level. So all students would be required to take that study abroad seminar, which is 4 credits taught by Corrie, and then you would have your 6-credit Hispanic Studies class. It's 6 credits based on contact hours. So the Spanish courses will vary from 4 to 6 credits. The lower the level, the more credits they'll be. And so that's a 6-credit course. You would have 1 elective course in English that you would take at UCA, and then you would have an IES elective course in English. So I might suggest for your UCA course, looking into this development economics course. Argentina is a fascinating place to study economics, and this class would analyze the poverty, inequality, the role of the public sector, all of that in the Argentine setting. And so that would be a fascinating course to take, I think. And then this community-based learning seminar would be a fantastic option to take. Again, you can do that with a lower level of Spanish. That's not a problem. And it would be a good way to interact with others in the city. If you're at a higher level, Hispanic Studies 230, you would again have that study abroad seminar that's 4 credits with all your St. Ben's and St. John's classmates. And then you would take your Spanish class, which would be 6 credits as well. For your UCA elective course, it would need to be in English. So I might suggest this Food, Culture, and Sustainability in Argentina course to learn about food, culture, and sustainability, just as the title says. In Argentina. Then for your elective course, this cross-cultural psychology course has also been a popular one, and it would also transfer back if you're a psychology major or minor. It would count directly for your major or minor on campus.
And the food, culture, and sustainability would count for environmental studies, and I also think for sociology, anthropology.
I think you're right.
Yep.
Great. If you are at a Hispanic Studies 270 level, that means you've already taken 230 on campus. You would take your study abroad seminar for 4 credits. Your independent abroad would be the name of the Spanish course that you're taking. That one's 4 credits. So you have room for 1 more elective course in your schedule. So your UCA course could be in Spanish or English. So I might suggest this sports and culture course taught in Spanish. It would be a unique lens of learning about the local culture through sports, which I think would be fascinating. And then at IES, you would have room for 2 electives. So again, I would suggest that community-based learning seminar and then this Making a Patagonia course, which would also count for environmental studies. It would also count for sociology. This course also has a field trip, which goes down to Patagonia. So you learn, you get to see firsthand everything you're learning about in the course, about the people who have lived in Bariloche, northern Patagonia, and how they've interacted with the land and other peoples throughout history. So I think that would be a great course option as well. If you're at a more advanced Spanish level, then you would still take the study abroad seminar. You would have a Spanish course that would be 4 credits. Your UCA elective could be in Spanish or English. This Migraciones class would be one I might suggest about learning about immigration, migration in Argentina. And then your IES electives could be that internship seminar and designing the sustainable city, which they take a look at the UN's Sustainable Development Goals and how they apply to a local setting. So there's a lot of in the city experience with this class that I think would be just a really neat experience to have. Again, if then you're at the 363B level for your Spanish, it would be a similar course load to what 363A looks like. So all of the course options are listed in this document that we have linked on our brochure in the global portal. And so in this document, you can see if it counts for different integrations curriculum requirements. You can see if it fulfills like HE, AE, social world, all of that is listed there. And if it's already been pre-approved for a major or minor, it's also in this document. So you can check that out as well. Then your housing, so students on this program stay in homestays. You'd be either by yourself with your host family or with another student. We take into consideration your requests. So if you request a roommate, then that's accommodated. Your host families provide 14 meals per week, and that's already included in your program fee. So that's just less money coming out of your pocket on site, which I think is really great. Then you also get to taste local Argentine families. You get to taste what they have for dinner on a regular basis. So this is a picture of our student this semester who is there with his host mom. They provide you breakfast, they provide you dinner on weekdays, and then a few meals on the weekends. So really you just have to be looking for your lunch on the weekdays is how that plays out. The circled neighborhoods on the map are where our host families are located. So the yellow neighborhood is Retiro, that's where the study center is located. The orange one next to that is Recoleta. And then some students are occasionally placed in Palermo, which is a bit farther out, but it's also a fantastic neighborhood to live in. It's the neighborhood that has all of the green space and parks. So it's, I think, not a bad place to live. It's actually really fantastic. So to get a feel of what these neighborhoods look like and what some of the sights and sounds might be that you see in Buenos Aires, here is a video. So this program then would also include some excursions and field studies. So you'd have a day trip included to Luján. That would be where this basilica is located. It's a place of importance to Argentine culture. And the same day you would visit an estancia, which is essentially a ranch. So you'd have a day outside of the city and get to experience some barbecue and some country activities. And then you would also have a 4-day, 3-night excursion to Jujuy. So that's the province up in the north, where you would get to go on some trekking excursions, learn about the salt flats, and learn about local traditions. There's a mountain trek with llamas, and I have a picture on the next slide of what that looks like. And then if you take the Patagonia course, Making of Patagonia, there is a course-related trip that goes down to Patagonia again, where you would get to experience what you're learning about in the classroom. So the red province marked on the map is Jujuy. And so part of this excursion is going on a trek through those beautiful mountains with llamas. And so these are our students pictured. They each got a llama to guide through the mountains. This also includes a visit to the salt flats. And so in order to get there, you can kind of see in this picture, there's a super small windy road behind the people in the photo. That's the road that you have to drive up in order to get to the salt flats. So it's quite an adventure just to get there. And then once you're there, the salt flats provide great opportunities for wonderful photos like this one, where our student is crushing his classmates with his foot. There's some fun optical illusions that you can create there. Here are some more photos. So it's landscape that is just gorgeous beyond words. They also got to learn, and you will get to learn about some local music traditions with people there. And so that's a video, but I'll skip over. Here we go. Then if you're in the Making of Patagonia course, this would be your class trip to Bariloche. So this would be not included in your program fee. You would have to pay for it separately. So if you choose that course, there is an additional fee, but you would get to visit Bariloche in such a unique context that I don't think you should pass up this opportunity. So you'll see lakes, mountains, glacial lakes of all colors, some super cool trees like this arrayan is the name of the tree with some reddish bark. So you would get to do some hiking and visiting with the people there as well. So yeah, really cool opportunity. There are other activities also included in the program. So like we mentioned before, a lot of your classes will happen outside of the classroom. So you might do a tour of the Colón Theater, which is pretty close to the IES Study Center. It's this ginormous theater that's really historic and beautiful. They've done cooking classes as well, so you might get to learn how to make empanadas. You could go to a percussion and tango show. They also have this language partners program, so you can be paired with an Argentine student and get together every week or so and do different activities where you would practice your Spanish with them and then they would practice their English with you. They've done different activities like going to meet up in the park and just hang out and chit-chatting in the park, and like different art activities. There's lots of things that they've done with their language partners. So that's not for credit, but if that's something you are interested in, it's a great opportunity to practice your language. And then, like I mentioned before, there's all those extracurricular activities at UCA. So a chance to stay active and maybe try a new sport that you haven't tried before, and also while making local friends. So lots of activities to get involved in. There's also volunteer opportunities that IES will organize. So these are just two of them. So these are our students who did a weekend experience, which is with Techo, which is an organization that's kind of like Habitat for Humanity. So they go and they'll build transitional houses for people that need them. They would stay in a school. You'd stay overnight. You'd have a sleeping bag provided, and then work together to build a house. There's also Módulo Sanitario. So that's one where you would go and help build a bathroom for families that don't have nice bathrooms. You would install a nice bathroom in their home. So maybe that community-based learning course doesn't fit in your schedule, but you do want to give experience volunteering somehow. This would be not for credit, but there are these additional opportunities. to do that. So here's a breakdown of what the costs look like for this semester. We anticipate them increasing for next fall, as they do, just like your tuition increases every year on campus. But the fee is estimated to be similar, just increased based on normal inflation. So you would have your education abroad program fee that's placed on your student account. For this semester, it was $7,600. So that's placed on your student account along with your tuition and required fees, just like a regular semester on campus. That means that since it's on your student account, your financial aid can apply to that number. So I kind of like to explain it like it's taking the place of your room and board. If you pay your room and board on campus every semester, while you're abroad, you wouldn't pay that, but you would have this education abroad fee. So all your financial aid, every bit of your financial aid except for your work study. So if you have student employment, you're not able to get that while you're abroad, but everything else would apply to this fee. So we also tell you to estimate some out-of-pocket expenses. We estimate the cost of your flight. There is a $300 application fee for applying to the program itself. That's not meant to be a hindrance. So if you do need a payment plan, we can set you up on a payment plan in order to pay for that fee where you would pay in monthly installments. That money would be applied directly to your program if you are accepted. And so you would also need to have a passport. That's an expense that you need to pay for out of pocket. And then certain things like your lunches that you would be buying on a weekly basis or on weekdays, and your cell phone. Those costs can vary, but it's something you'll need to account for in your personal budget. And then any personal spending that you are planning to do, that again varies greatly based on student. If you're planning to do a lot of independent traveling around Argentina and South America, then the more travel you plan to do, of course, the more you'll spend out of pocket. But all that said, we do have some scholarships available. So after the application deadline, which is February 4th this year, we will send out a link for the CSB and SJU Global Scholarship. That'll be due in March. So all students who apply to study abroad can apply for that scholarship. In addition to that, you can check within the Hispanic Studies department. They may have some scholarships available for Hispanic Studies majors and minors as well. If students are eligible for the Pell grants, then you can also apply for this Gilman Scholarship, and that awards up to $5,000 for a given study abroad program. So our office does advising and help students to prepare their applications for that one as well. There is a bunch listed as well on our My CSB SJU page, so you can see all of the ones that are listed there, but the final one that I have listed here is an IES scholarship. So since we partner with them for this program, all students are also able to apply for that scholarship. And so there are lots of opportunities there for funding if finances are a concern.
And the US dollar is quite strong in Argentina. So in terms of your daily spending, that will be helpful.
Yes.
I have a question. The application fee, if someone is not accepted, do they get that back?
It's reimbursed if they're not accepted. Yep, good question. So yeah, so like for a lunch, if you're buying like a couple empanadas, say like 3 empanadas for lunch, you could expect to spend like $5 maximum for your lunch if they're like really super high quality empanadas. So your dollar will go a long way. All right, and then here are some tips for the application. So the application for this program opens this Friday, November 1st. We are looking for these things within your application. So all students must have a minimum GPA of 2.5. If you don't quite meet that minimum, I would still encourage you to apply. You might be conditionally accepted, and we could see, yeah, so don't count it out if you're at like a 2.4 something, right? Then we're also looking for quality of study abroad application essays and resume. There are a couple essays that we ask you to answer. You'll need to submit 2 references. If you've been or if you're currently on disciplinary probation, then that could affect your acceptance into this program. Again, but if it's a past, something that's happened in the past and you've already completed your probation, then also don't let that stop you from applying. If you're currently on disciplinary or academic probation, then that is an instant no. But if it's something that's happened in the past, we can talk. You'll have an interview after you submit the application. And so all of this sounds like a lot, but we're also here to support you. So we have application support sessions that are provided through our office that you can attend starting in November, from November through February. The schedule for those is on my CSBSJU. So we'll have some of our career mentors and study abroad mentors who will go through your resume with you and provide you some interview tips and those sorts of things. So all that you do to prepare does matter, and we notice that you have put in the time to prepare your application. So we're looking for your preparation and your enthusiasm in this process too. So as you're looking to apply, here are some next steps for study abroad. Create a financial plan, whether that means working and saving or coming up with scholarship applications. It's never too early to start planning your finances for study abroad. If you haven't already been on the global portal, you can log in and create your traveler profile. You can check out the different brochures that we have for each program. There's a lot of information there specifically for this program. We also have links there to the courses taught on this program and the costs. So you can find all of that information linked on the global portal. As I mentioned, we have application support sessions, so you can learn more from our student workers in the Experience Hub. We'll also be offering some practice interviews, so that will happen in late January, early February. If you're looking to polish up your interview skills, we have that as an opportunity as well. So applications are due February 4th at noon. The weeks following that is when we'll have interviews. You'd be interviewing with our faculty director, Corrie Grosse, and then you'd be notified if you're accepted into the program on Tuesday, February 18th, so that you are all set to go for registration in March. So that was a lot of information. Does anyone have any questions?
What do you want me to do all at once or?
I think that'd be fun.
Sure.
Okay, so, my first one was, does the transportation cost, does that include the SUBTE?
Yes. Yep, it would cover all public transportation. So the SUBTE, which is the metro, the subway, and your buses.
Okay. And then, my other question was, how structured is it? Like, if I want to go, into the city and explore with, let's say, some friends I meet, from Argentina, is that something that I'm allowed to do or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you'll have lots of free time, so that would be encouraged.
I mean, it's similar to here, like you're taking classes and then, you have host parents that you should inform about what you're doing, but then other than that, your time is yours and yeah, you should make use of it and explore.
And then when I'm there, is there a place that I can keep cash while I'm in the country? Just, let's say I convert USD to, the Argentine peso, and then is there a place I can keep that so it's not just floating around like the room somewhere or?
Yeah, I usually tell students, like if they're withdrawing a bunch from the ATM or if they're bringing a lot from the beginning, just so like get a luggage lock and put it in your suitcase and keep that locked inside your suitcase and tuck it under your bed sort of thing would be a safe way to keep your cash. Yeah, definitely don't carry it with you in your bag every single day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm planning on studying abroad in fall of 2026. It probably is a little early to be applying now. When should I start?
Yep, so you could be the same time, but next year.
Okay.
November 1st next year, 2025.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is the time commitment for the first load like similar to classes here or like more or less?
Yeah, your homework and the type of instruction might feel different. So I feel like you might have more of your grade that is dependent on a midterm or on a final and less daily work. So like you might not be writing essays every week for your classes that you are maybe probably doing on campus. but the time that you're spending in class, the electives are 3 credits each. So it's similar to what you would be experiencing for in-class time on campus. Your homework, I think, and the type of instruction might feel different. Does that answer your question?
And 3 credits is based on hours, so 3 hours per week is what a 3 credit means.
You would still have, your course load would be between 15 to 18 credits. So that would be the same as what you would have on campus for a normal semester. So, yeah.
Did you have a follow-up question, or does that help?
I think that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
My class will be pretty similar to a 300 level class here in terms of work, I mean, in terms of style and everything, but we'll get to do a lot more like being out in places out in the city, and probably a lot more reflection too, thinking about our own experiences than we might have here.
Mhm.
Anything else?
I know it's recommended if you're studying abroad to only speak the foreign language for like your first month. Is that something I should expect to be doing?
So the staff at the study center will speak English, and you'll have a full week of orientation that they'll do in English for you, just so that you have that orientation and get to know the place that you're living in and studying in. So I wouldn't put that expectation on myself of like only Spanish. If you personally want to do that, I'd say by all means do that. Yeah, tell your host families like Spanish only, don't speak to me in English, because you'll find people there like language partners or other people you meet. Once they find out that you do speak English, then they might want to be like, oh, practice. That's perfect person to practice with. But if that's a goal of yours, just communicate that and say, I only want to speak Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm.
Making friends with other people from around the world is a great way to, because sometimes like when I studied abroad, we had this Japanese friend and he only spoke Japanese and Spanish, right? So I didn't speak Japanese. So we spoke in Spanish a lot, which doesn't happen if you're hanging out with other US students often. You might kind of divert to English. So yeah, the more Spanish you can speak, the better for your language skills.
Yeah. Did you have another question? No. Anything else?
I'll just note to everyone too, my office is here in Peter Engel. It's just kind of across the hall, office number 253. And then you can find my email, CGROSSE001 at St. Ben, St. John's. And I'd be really happy to meet with you one-on-one to look at how it fits in your plans or answer any other questions that you have or just get to know you. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
And then you can find me on the Hive if you look up the Center for Global Education. Again, my name is Tracy, and I'm also happy to meet with you if you have any questions about this program at all or about the application.